Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to a new edition of Urban Sentinel Live. I'm glad to have everyone here tonight with me, and I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Urban Sentinel Live show. We got a great show tonight, a great show. One of my favorite people to spend time with and to interview is Miss Raven Thistle. And she knows a whole lot of stuff, especially when it comes to relationships. So we're gonna have a good time this evening, sitting back talking and chopping it up, and hope you will enjoy. So Raven, where are you? Come on aboard. Hey, Miss Thistle, how you doing? You muted.
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Reggie?
Oh, I'm doing fine, doing fine, doing fine. I'm so glad to have you with me here tonight. In this new year, 2024. We haven't been together this year, so uh, happy belated New Year to you, and welcome back to the Urban Sentinel Live show.
Thank you for having me back. The real new year for me is always the spring. So we are just on the edge of my new year.
Okay, great, great, great. So, what you been up to?
I've been up to a lot actually. I know you and I have been talking for more than a year now, Reggie.
Mhm.
I've been coming on your short show for more than a year, most months to talk about mental health. And I've been working as a coach for a long time on the side. But as my day job, I've been working in diversity, equity, and inclusion. When we first started out, I was doing that in the sports industry. And then about a year ago, I transitioned to doing that in the tech industry.
Mhm.
And less than a month ago, I have left that all behind, and I'm no longer working in diversity, equity, inclusion. And I am 100% dedicated to the coaching space.
Okay, okay. So you made that leap of faith, huh?
Yeah, actually, yes, it's been really rewarding. I'm so excited. You know how much I love this. I always
Oh
have
yeah.
so much passion.
Hmm.
And so now I'm dedicated to serving and supporting women and couples primarily, using my love based growth model, helping people with communication in their relationships, intimacy, and I have some events coming up. We had our first Touch Taste Teas event for couples on Valentine's Day weekend in Jacksonville. It was a huge success.
Hmm.
The slow dancing to live music, delicious dinner, intimacy coaching, couples exercises, and everybody got gifts. They had the option to stay the night at the hotel, the host hotel at the Touch Taste Teas rate, which a lot of couples did. It was completely packed, sold out night, and we're going to do it again in Atlanta on April 20th. So if you're in the Atlanta area, bring your boo to Touch Taste Teas. You can register. Registration is open now at wellloved.co. And we're doing it again in Tallahassee on May 25th. And I have a speed dating event coming up in 3 weeks here in Valdosta, Georgia. So I don't know, Reggie. Maybe I'll be coming to your city with Touch Taste Teas. You and your wife can come and slow
Hey,
dance.
come on, bring it on up here to the DMV.
Yeah.
And people in the DMV probably really appreciate that. Hey, so it sounds like you got a busy schedule ahead of you. So, what made you? I know you love what you're doing. So, what made you finally jump out there and say, "Look, I'm going all in"?
Tech layoffs were happening left and right.
Hmm.
The company that I was working for had was going through their third round of layoffs. I knew my position might be in trouble with that round of layoffs, and I also felt in my heart that it was time. Um, I had been I was planning Touch Taste Teas for months while I was still working full time. And I just felt like I was divided between the career that I had been pouring myself into for the last decade and a half
Hmm.
and what my heart had always really wanted to do, which was the coaching route and the supporting people one on one. And it just got to the point where even at my day job, I was just coaching people.
Right, right.
I can't help it. That's not even just what I do. That's a part of who I am. And so there comes a time where you just have to let your authentic calling come through, and there's just no more. There's just no more waiting.
Okay. Okay. Hey, that's what you got to do. I think a lot of times we miss out on our life's dreams of what we could really be doing because we don't jump out there, and go for it. And you'll never know what you're capable of doing unless you go out there and just do it. So
Exactly.
yeah, you got to be out there. So that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. So what? How many people do you think you had for your event in Jacksonville when you had it?
50.
15. Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
50 people.
That's
Yeah, 50 people there. I'm planning for 100 in Atlanta.
hmm
50 couples. And I don't really want to accommodate or make it bigger than that. I like it to be relatively intimate. So
right.
50 couples, you can space them out in a pretty large space where they can have a little bit of, private conversations and really focus on each other.
hmm
Um,
hmm
yeah, and then we had Georgia's Best award-winning photographer there taking couples portraits. So every couple received a beautiful portrait of themselves to commemorate the night.
Okay, great, great, great. So you're gonna do a little speed dating. So tell me about that. How does that work? Speed dating.
Yeah, speed dating is going to be so much fun for the couples. The registration for that opens tomorrow on welllove.co. And we're opening it up for 20 men who are seeking women and 20 women who are seeking men. Um, we have, and I say we because this is an event that I am running with Ashley Rice of Positive Mindset Counseling. She is an incredible therapist. She hosts retreats for Black women. And so she came to me with the idea that, hey, why don't we do speed dating together? I loved it. I immediately latched onto it. And so together we will be hosting the women and men. Hopefully they'll mingle and maybe even meet somebody. We have a big priority around consent and privacy. So this speed dating event is different from other events. People who register actually have to apply.
Okay.
We're doing it that way because we want to vet out people who are either not serious or, and also we want to make sure that we have the even number of men and women in the room. Um, and then lastly, we are making it so that people are not allowed to tell each other their names or to ask for somebody's number or
Okay.
contact each other at all for privacy purposes. We don't want anybody getting cornered.
hmm
So after they've had their quick speed dating conversations, people can indicate on their forms who did you connect with, which spark number person connected with you, and if there's a match, we'll email you the contact information after, and you can take it from there.
Now, requesting that people not ask for names and phone numbers, was that for concern for safety of the individual?
Yeah, it is. It's about safety and consent. So only for people who you've had an equal match with, those are the ones that you'll get their contact information after. We don't want people to be stalking somebody that they saw at a speed dating event because they know they're single.
hmm
Um, we even don't want you being able to really follow somebody to their car, or have a conversation with somebody in the parking lot. So the men will be in one room and the women will be in another room. They'll come together for the dating part, and after the men leave, then the women will be allowed to leave.
Okay. Okay. That's good. That is great. That is great. Well, I'm married and then I'm too old for that.
Well, we don't want to see you at speed dating, Reggie.
Mm-mm. Look, probably like slow motion for me. I tell you, if I was out there now, probably more like slow motion for me. I tell you.
It's really the dating scene is really complicated these
Uh-huh.
days, and it's full of a lot of negativity. Social media is really big on pitting that battle of the sexes, men and women against each other online a lot.
Right.
Well, there's a need for people to understand how to date with open hearts
Mm-hmm.
and how to have wisdom and proper discernment while still making themselves available for a true connection that can lead to something beautiful with another person.
Mm-hmm. How in building relationships? and finding that special person. I mean, I think the landscape has changed greatly today. It's really different now because I know you know, I think my daughter, she desires to meet someone, but it's just so hard to meet people unless you go into a large church or something that has a lot of young people there and everything. And then she doesn't want to do dating sites. So how do you uh, conquer that hill of meeting people and trying to find somebody to date? Because, like I said, everybody really does depend on technology these days
Yeah, for
in
sure.
relationships. So
Yeah.
if
Um,
you're not into the technology portion, what you gonna do?
I love this question. So, everything I do at Well Loved is based on my love based growth model.
Hmm.
This is a system that I created, and it really works for whatever outcome you want in your life, whether that's love, a certain career path, whatever. And it's about tapping into yourself and getting crystal clear on what it is that you want within yourself, deciding that you can have it, loving yourself to grow into the person who has it, right? So I'll use myself as an example. I met my partner through mutual friends.
Hmm.
The reason why my mutual friends connected us, though, is because they saw me doing what I love to do. They saw me putting myself out on the internet, talking about love and relationships, talking about healing and growth. I was already doing that, and so was he. He was doing that on his platform. We didn't know each other, but people who saw both of us doing the same thing, they introduced us.
Hmm.
So when you are pursuing yourself, when you are pursuing what you want to do and you're in your light, maybe you like kayaking, or maybe you think you might like it, but you've never had the courage to try it before. When you go do that thing, you try it, you like it, you keep doing it, you'll meet somebody else in that thing where you are doing you. And then when you're in that space, your energy is so attractive and radiant. You draw people to you, the right people who are on that same frequency, because you're doing what you love. You are radiating joy. And there's not a man, woman, or child on the planet that's not attracted to
Hmm.
that energy. So I would
Now,
say
oh,
if
go
you're
ahead. Go ahead and finish your thought.
if you're single and you want to meet people, do the thing that you really love to do louder. Be in the places where people like the same things that you like, and you have the opportunity to connect with folks who are doing what you like. Now, when I was, first starting out, putting my content out, doing lives and doing podcasts, I wasn't doing that to find somebody. I was doing it because I enjoyed it. And when the right person saw me doing what they also enjoyed doing, it was a natural connection.
Okay. Now let me ask you a question. Okay. You said that the speed dating. Okay, you won't have an age range there for the speed dating, right?
Yes, there will be an age range. It's hard to determine because right now we want to base it off who wants to come. This is our first time doing the speed dating in this area. So once we start getting applications, we'll be able to see, like, okay, most of the people who are applying are in their 20s or in their 30s or their 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can kind of better set an age range from there for future events.
Because the reason I asked, Mark posted a question. He was asking, talking about age difference between couples now, because he was saying that he's met ladies that have been, 15 years younger than him and everything. And so that, I mean, it's just a difference out here now, as far as age gap and things uh, of that nature. So, what do you think about that? The wide age gap, that's out
Well,
there.
I think it may be less important than people think. You
Hmm.
can have a connection with somebody who's older or younger than you, as long as they are at an age of reasonable consent, for the exchange. I think consent is more important than age. So if you have, some people are not interested in someone older than them, too much older, or some people are not interested in someone too much younger. Usually it's women, in heterosexual spaces. Usually it's women who prefer someone older, um, and men who prefer someone younger. But that there's a lot of variations there. The most important thing is that if you are dating in large age gaps, that there is a healthy dynamic where one is not necessarily parenting the other, or
Mm-hmm.
one is not necessarily looking to the other to be parented, unless that's what y'all like. And you're both, in agreement about that dynamic.
Uh-huh.
But just making sure that you're both looking for the same thing. Another thing that comes up is like, hey, you don't have kids. You're maybe in your late 20s, and I'm in my, early 40s, and my kid, you're at different stages of life. Maybe you still want kids. I don't want kids. So just aligning and making sure that you want the same things, you're on the same page. And also, if you're an older person dating an extremely younger person, 2 or 3 decades of a difference, make sure you're not being used. Make sure they're not waiting on you to die so they can
Mm-hmm.
get your money.
Right, right, right.
People do that.
Because okay, I'm 66 years old. What would I look like with a 25-year-old hanging off my arm? Okay.
Dead, because your wife would kill you.
No, I'm saying if I wasn't married, what would I look like? 66 years old with a 25-year-old? No, 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 no,
I'm
no,
not here
no.
to judge, but some people would think you look like a sugar daddy.
Yeah, probably would
But
be. That's probably what I would be. Yeah, to that person.
that that
And then,
that's a relationship dynamic, though.
yeah.
That is
Okay,
a
let's reverse it. Now, everybody thinks it's okay for a woman to be a cougar. So, like, take Cher, for instance. She's 80 some years old, early 80s, and she's got a 20 something year old guy, or he might be early 30s, and she just loves him to death. So she ain't trying to let him go. So, what do you think about that? Because societies tends to accept the woman being in a relationship that old, but frown on when a man finds himself in the road. You look at Al Pacino. His wife, with the mother of his child, is 30 years old, and he's 80 something years old, early 80s. You know, so the men are frowned upon, but the women are glorified for getting their younger guy.
I don't know if I agree with that, Reggie. I think it's the other way around.
Uh-huh.
I've seen, I think I see all the time, men going for
Hmm.
much younger women and preferring to date women who are within a certain age range. And then even men who, once you hit a certain age, they don't even want you anymore. They want somebody
Hmm.
that's young all the time. And I more rarely see women dating much younger. But, not to say it doesn't happen. And I think there's folks who demonize both and glorify either one. Um,
Hmm.
my opinion, I think as long as somebody is making you happy, they're treating you the way you want to be treated,
Hmm.
you're making them happy, y'all are invested in each other. I don't think there's anything wrong with whether it's a huge age gap or a small one. Some people fetishize that. Some people really love an older woman, and that's their thing that they go for.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So I don't know. I don't have
Mhm.
a big opinion about it.
Right. Because I have a guy who used to work for me. This was years ago. Probably was in early 2000, 2001, something like that. And he probably, let me see, me and him, are we the same age? We probably were the same age back then. So, you're looking at 23. So I probably was in my 40s then. And then he was dating someone that was like 18 years old. Okay. He met her. I think might have been in a store or something. He met her, and she was still in high school, 18-year old, and they ended up having a relationship, ended up getting married. I mean, the parents didn't care for it, but as of probably 3 or 4 years ago, I've lost contact with them. They were still together.
Wow, how long have that been?
They probably got a good What's it? They probably got a good 20 years into that relationship.
20 years. Okay.
In the marriage,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it can work. I don't know. I get when
Mhm,
I hear about that young, 18 and a,
mhm.
at that time probably around 40 something year old.
Right.
I don't know. That concerns me. Honestly, it
Mhm,
concerns me because I think when I think of an 18-year-old young woman,
mhm,
I'm thinking, and this might be a bit stereotypical, but I'm thinking of somebody who doesn't necessarily know herself,
mhm,
doesn't necessarily have a lot of opinions or even high standards at that age. And so my automatic assumption of,
mhm,
something, if I were to think something negative, it might be that he it's a little predatory at that age
mhm,
because he does know himself
mhm,
and he does have certain ways and that he can stay in, and he can kind of mold her into being the right partner for him. um and I would warn girls at that age against dating someone so much older,
mhm,
because you can be easily very manipulated and controlled in that relationship.
mhm. Yeah, I wouldn't want a relationship like that guy. I feel like that's my daughter or something. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just me. That's
Yeah,
I
it
think
seems
that
a little predatory for that big of
me.
a gap and that young. Yeah, 18
Yeah.
is very young.
But again, society has changed, and things that weren't accepted now are acceptable. Like Mark made a comment. He said how important. How we in the religious circles talk about equally yoked. How important is people to be probably equally yoked in the sense that they enjoy the same things, um, uh, and that's how their relationship operates, enjoying each other and having something in common.
I sharing interests is it seems like it would be really important because it makes you feel compatible.
Hmm.
It makes you feel like they get me.
Hmm.
But it's not a good indicator of relationship success, happiness, or longevity. Just because you have that similar interest, it's a good way to meet someone, but it's not necessarily a good thing to build your relationship on.
Hmm.
When we think about being equally yoked, I think that has more to do with having similar values.
Hmm.
Just because you both like gaming doesn't mean that you both have the same ideas about what monogamy means,
Hmm.
or the same ideas about what respect means. Um, and so it's more important to make sure that you are building a relationship with someone who has the skills that it takes to maintain a relationship, or that they have the desire to grow those skills. And
Hmm.
the desire to grow the skills may be more important than having them from the outset because you're both going to change. So, what happens when y'all don't like video games anymore? Or what happens when you're both too busy to play? I think that should be a very small factor,
Right.
similar interests.
Hmm.
Yeah, relationship skills and the desire for growth are really the most important thing. So, skills would be the ability to regulate your emotions. That is the most important relationship skill that you can have. Another one is the ability to uh, acquiesce, allow somebody else to win or be happy, to make someone else happy. If you have deep selfishness as a core part of your personal identity, then that may be something that you want to work on before getting into a
Hmm.
serious relationship or a long-term relationship. Otherwise, you can do damage to another person.
Right.
Similar interests, it really it's not that important.
Hmm.
hmm And
That's
a lot of times people can be unhappy in their relationship. They can project that desire for similar interests onto their partner. You don't do the same things I do. She likes to read books and so do I. And we met at the bookstore. My wife doesn't read, that type of thing. So now I'm turned off by her. It's not about that. The girl that reads, she might keep your attention for a little while. She has something interesting to talk about. But
hmm.
the wife at home that doesn't read, she knows you. She was
Mhm.
there when your mom passed away. She knows when she can read you, she's in tune with you.
Mhm.
And that is something that takes building. Everybody doesn't have the skill. You
Mhm.
find out, a year, 2 years in is when you find out, are we compatible?
Mhm.
Are you learning me? Am I learning you? Do I want to keep learning you?
Yeah, that's pretty funny. You end up getting divorced and telling somebody how you met your wife. Well, I met her at Barnes and Noble, and she was an avid reader, and I like that because she loves to read books. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's how you met your wife?
Oh no, I'm just saying that. No,
Oh,
I'm just saying that that's kind of hilarious.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's a starting point.
Hmm.
I shared a little about me and John when we
Hmm.
first met. We bonded over similar interests. And, we're both divorced. My
Hmm.
ex-husband didn't share those interests. His ex-wife didn't share those interests. So
Hmm.
we just became friends. It wasn't
Right.
romantic. It was just a friendship because we had similar interests.
Hmm.
And as we discussed those interests, we found that we had similar values.
Hmm.
And as we kept talking, we found that we both had a hunger and an appreciation and a humility to grow,
Hmm.
you know? And I think once you discover that somebody has enough humility to grow, to admit when they're wrong, that's always a good sign that a healthy relationship is possible.
Hmm. Hmm. Now, explain self love.
Mm. Okay, so self love. We arrive at self love in a three-step process that's always ongoing. We never stop doing this. It starts with self discovery. When we are learning about ourselves, we are paying attention to what we are thinking and what we are doing. We are observing these things about ourselves in different situations. It goes then to self acceptance because a lot of us get stuck in this loop of we observe something about ourselves, we don't like it, we criticize ourselves, we
Hmm.
observe something else, we put ourselves down, we have something negative in our mouths and our minds about ourselves, right? Or we have something, maybe we do have positivity about ourselves and we're not being honest with ourselves about what we're seeing. That's also a lack of self acceptance.
Hmm.
So I would convince myself that I'm not a liar even though I'm telling all these lies. I have all these excuses for their behavior instead of truly accepting, no, I be lying. So we start with the self discovery. We move into the self acceptance, which is the truth.
Hmm.
And then from there, that's where we cultivate the love. Love is a network of choices. And so when we and we love based on who we are, how we are. The love always matches and mirrors the lover. Wicked people love wickedly. Selfish people love selfishly. You've heard it said that, oh, he loves me, he just don't know how to show it. He's showing it in the way that reflects who he is right now,
Hmm.
where he is on his journey, how he is with himself, right? So, um, cultivating self love is a process of building things like self care. We have routines where we take care of our body, our mind, our spirit. It is self respect. We have a certain way that we interact and engage with ourselves because we have respect for ourselves. Self compassion, self forgiveness, extending all of those things to ourselves. I made a big mistake. I felt foolish. I feel embarrassed. Let me find it in myself to show myself compassion. Um, and then there's this beautiful exercise that I love to do with my clients. Um, it's called coming home to yourself. And if you don't mind, I would love to do this exercise with you right now.
Okay.
I have your consent. Okay. So, and anybody watching is so welcome to do this too. What you'll do is close your eyes and you will imagine that you are freezing cold and you are extremely hungry and you are outside, you're barefoot in the snow, in the woods, and you've been walking for hours, maybe even days. You're walking through the snow, you're all alone, you're afraid, you're not sure where to go. And in the distant distance, you can see smoke rising. And so you find a little bit of hope in yourself. You pick up your step, and even though you don't know who's got that smoke going, it could be a friend or a foe. You move in the direction because you just don't have anything to lose. As you get closer to that smoke, you begin to see the frame of a house, a big, beautiful log cabin. You can see the light through the windows. And as you get even closer, you can smell something delicious cooking. And you start to pick up your pace even more because your stomach is growling. As you get closer, you're so nervous. You can hear voices inside. You step up on the porch. You find the courage to knock on the door. And before you even touch it, it swings open. Inside of the door, you see 20-year-old yourself, 6-year-old yourself, 80-year-old yourself, 5-year-old yourself, 19-year-old. It's you at every age and stage. Places where you've already been in your life and places where you've never been before yet. And they're all smiling eagerly at you. 16-year-old you is the one who opened the door, and on his hip, he's holding 3-year-old you. And 3-year-old you is cheering, "Yes, I'm so glad you're here. We've been waiting for you." They welcome you in. 45-year-old you throws a warm blanket around your shoulders. They sit you down in a comfy chair or recliner. They take your shoes off and put your feet in a warm bath of water. And before you can even say thank you, they have a bowl of stew hot in your lap, ready for you to eat. They are ecstatic that you're there. You can hear some of them laughing in the kitchen. You can hear them cracking jokes upstairs as they make a bed for you. And one of them looks at you and says, "Well, man, go ahead and eat. We want to hear about how you're doing. We want to hear about your journey. Tell us." That is the feeling, that joy you feel, that smile you feel from inside. That is the feeling of coming home to yourself. And you can bottle up that experience, that emotion that you feel right now, and imagine that the yous hand you a jar and you place that emotion inside. They close it up for you and they press it onto your chest, and you can feel that love, that acceptance, that somebody who knows you like nobody else on the planet ever could and cares about you in ways and in places that feel impossible otherwise. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes and bring that feeling with you. Mhm. That is self love. That is the experience of coming home to yourself. And it
Mm-hmm.
is a skill to be able to bring that with you into different situations when you feel rejected, when whatever happens at any time. You can always go there and always, always, no matter what, feel the love that you have for you.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Also made me think about the past and going forward, thinking back on some of the ages, that have gone through the years I have gone through at certain ages and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really beautiful. I love that exercise because I used to have a really bad tendency of beating myself up.
Hmm.
And I've always been a big personality. And so I would get to the place, have my fun, say all the things. And then after I would leave, I would question everything I had said. I wonder if that was offensive. I wonder if I sounded stupid. I wonder if I shouldn't have said that. And I would just feel terrible.
Hmm.
Doing this exercise, I can meet all those versions of myself who did things that used to make me cringe, and I see them exactly where they are, and I'm so full of love for them and compassion for them.
Hmm.
I no longer regret you know, my myself showing up in spaces as me because now I understand that there's also, I'm 33 right now.
Mm-hmm.
There is a 34-year-old version of me in the room loving me. There is a 80-year-old version of me with no regrets. And so it frees you from whatever your mental turmoil is with yourself.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. So I love coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching people, coaching women one-on-one in self-love is beautiful. I have two clients that I'm working with right now, and watching them grow in love with themselves, there's nothing like it. And then coaching couples, letting them experience that same self-love and bring it into the container of their relationship, and watching it transform their space, transform their expectations of each other, and how they speak to one another, how they speak to themselves. It's really magical and powerful. Mhm.
Well, gave me something to think about. I'm gonna try this again. I had to try this.
Yeah.
So, okay, and I know one other thing we were going to talk about tonight. Okay, so relationship, self love is kind of intertwined or moves you into a better relationship, I assume.
100%.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yes. And sometimes what you'll find is that simply by learning how to love yourself,
Mm-hmm,
you heal your relationship dynamic with the other person. A lot of couples get into what I call the argument cycle.
mm-hmm,
You know, one person is triggered by something, and then they react, right? Trigger, react. Now their reaction triggers the other person, and the other person reacts and
mm-hmm,
triggers them back. And now you're in the loop, and you don't get off the loop. And if you do get off of it, you get right back on it after a while. It doesn't take long.
mm-hmm,
And so there's this rumor going around that, you know, it takes two people to change the relationship. But that, how can that be true?
mm-hmm,
If you react, then you trigger them, they react, and you trigger. If you don't react, the cycle is broken.
mm-hmm,
You're not in an argument cycle anymore. You've changed your reaction. And now, with you doing that consistently, the relationship dynamic has to change. So now you've created a space where you're working on yourself. When you get triggered, now you're seeing that as an opportunity to cultivate
mm-hmm,
yourself, to grow, to heal. And now that you're doing your healing work, every time that trigger comes, oh, there's my
mm-hmm,
temper. There's my temper. I almost went off on him.
mm-hmm,
Let me be quiet instead.
mm-hmm.
Let me go find out, why is this triggering me so bad? And why, when I'm triggered, do I want to yell and cuss people out? Why does that come out? Where does that come from? You know, when you're over there doing your healing work, now he's like, she ain't going off on me no more.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew she was going to be mad if I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe there's safety for me to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, and I've never experienced safety when I make a mistake before. I'm a
Right.
man. Usually if I make a mistake, people come down on me. They don't have any grace or compassion for me. So wait a minute. Is she showing me compassion?
Mm-hmm.
I like this feeling. I like feeling like I'm getting grace for when I make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Let me, I'm grateful to her. Now I want to serve her because she's giving me something I've never had.
Right.
Now I'm healing. I didn't even know that I needed grace. Now I wonder if I can give myself grace. Okay.
Right.
So the whole thing changes because she decided, and it works both ways. And
Mm-hmm.
now if you find, this is what I found in my previous marriage. My marriage, the breakdown of my marriage was happening since day 7.
Mm-hmm.
The 7th day we were married, I knew we would get a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed married for 5-6 years, something like that. So the it was extremely toxic fights and arguments, yelling, cussing, violence.
Mm-hmm.
And when I began to do my healing and growth work, and I withdrew from those type of arguments. He would try to start something, and he used to try to start something on purpose. That was he enjoyed that. He would try to start something and I wouldn't react. Um, I would just say, okay, baby. I would say, are you hungry? I would say, okay, I'll do that better next time. Okay, I apologize. Okay, I see you're upset. Do you want to take a little time to yourself or do you want to talk about it? I completely changed the way I interacted with him. And that went on for more than a year. And he continued with the violence, with the rage, with the anger, even without a combatant. So now you're just fighting yourself. And we went to 7 different marriage counselors to try to make it work. And some of them made it worse. And I started the love work with a coach. See, coaching is not counseling, it's not therapy. Therapy and counseling are there to help you treat mental illnesses and extreme emotional challenges. Coaching is there to help you get results. It is to help you optimize and maximize your performance. So I'm a coach, not a therapist. When I started working with a coach, she taught me, I worked with Dr. Kim Grimes, Dr. Kim R. Grimes. If anybody's interested in her, she's phenomenal.
Yeah, I've talked to her before.
Yes,
Yes.
she's incredible. I
Yeah.
worked with her. She was the one who gave me the practical tools to apply my love for myself. So once I started doing the practical work, that's when my life truly changed. That's when my confidence changed. That's when my understanding of my circumstances changed. And I decided to leave that marriage. Best decision. Getting married was a good decision. I learned so much out of it. My children are a product of that marriage. And leaving that marriage was also a tremendous decision. And I would not have known that I needed to make that decision had it not been for my growing in love with myself.
Now, one thing I heard you say that a couple of the counselors you went to made it worse. How did they make it worse?
Yeah, sometimes an untrained counselor, a counselor who's not trauma informed, a counselor who does not. The first counselors we had were religious counselors. They were part of our church. They had no formal training, and they did a terrible job reading and understanding what was happening in my marriage. When I told them that he was violent against me, they laughed at me, didn't believe me, and they gave him like a pass. Anything that happened in the relationship, they fueled the narcissistic behavior. And I never will understand why. Actually, one of them recently followed me on Instagram all these years later. I'll never understand that. Then we had some counselors, therapists who they could see what was happening, but they weren't, because they were therapists and counselors, they weren't at liberty to say, you are being emotionally abusive. You know, they weren't at liberty to give that kind of advice and prescription in the container that we were in. I had one that I went to her separately by myself. And when I went to her separately, she was trying to coax me to be like, have you noticed that your husband has a preoccupation with, himself? Have you noticed that your husband seems to lack empathy? You know, she would ask those type of questions to try to guide me. The last counselor that we had, he was in the military. So in the military space, if you admit that there's abuse going on, you basically can lose everything. I wasn't working. I was in a space where I couldn't tell. Otherwise, how are we going to eat? So when we went to military therapy, it wasn't very helpful because we weren't telling the truth.
Right.
And, when we finally did, it was in a setting where they have a special therapist that you can go to, who you can tell anything to, and legally they cannot say anything to the military about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only therapy session where we went with the military and told the truth. And when that woman saw me at the commissary, which is the military grocery store, she
Mm-hmm.
saw me at the commissary without him. She ran up to me, Reggie, and she said, I have been terrified for you. I've been praying for you every night. You are not safe in the house with your husband. And, I'm not supposed to tell you this. I could lose my job. I could lose my license, but I worry about you. And I told her, thank you. I've already made my plans to leave. At that point, I've been, planning my escape.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the therapists weren't helpful for us because of the nature of the relationship, the nature of the confines, the dishonesty. We weren't always being honest with the therapist,
Right.
um, and the manipulation. He really was great at manipulating the therapist.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of tough to swallow there.
yeah, it was really nightmarish. I
Yeah.
can look back now and I laugh, and actually we have a decent co-parenting
Mm-hmm.
relationship. Um, and that those experiences really inform me now when I work with couples, on
Mm-hmm.
how to listen to what's really being said, what's really being felt, what's really happening, um, and how to really create a safe space for both people. That's why for me, I prefer to be a coach, and I wouldn't go the route of being a therapist, even though I definitely promote therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to work with coaching clients who have never been to therapy.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I don't recall, where we started, but I think all of these facts are really important things to consider.
Mm-hmm. 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 Talking about relationships, I find that I've been married for maybe 32 years, I believe in this.
Woo!
Yeah, a long time, a long time. But now that we are true empty nesters, because my daughter has moved back out, I think I see us growing closer together because we're only two in the house.
Yeah.
So that I find our relationship getting better because we are the only two in the house and everything. So we have to communicate a lot. I think when my daughter was here, I could kind of slide through and allow them to have a good relationship. So that wasn't putting me, making me, you know, do better as relationship developing. But
Hmm.
we've been, true empty nesters, and we probably would never have anybody back in this house again other than her. You kind of are forced to talk more and work on your relationship a lot more. So it's been good. It's
Yeah.
been good. We've gained, I think, gained some closeness we might have lost during the 26 years of my daughter being here. So, um, so I think in that sense, becoming an empty nester doesn't mean you have to go on one side of the house and they stay on the other side of the house. You
Yeah.
just do better at what you're doing that you know what to do better with. You know.
Yeah. Do you have any fun dates planned with your wife coming up?
Well, I got to get. That's one of the things I got to get to. Okay, 'cause
Okay.
I'm so busy, so we got to start trying to figure out, or either I got to start trying to figure out how I can put, date nights in and things of that nature, so we can, go out and have another extra. But I mean, like last Saturday or Saturday before last, 'cause it rained last Saturday, we went to see, we went out to dinner and went to see our uh, the Bob Marley movie and
Oh,
everything. So, got to get back on that track, work it out.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you ever need a romantic date idea, Reggie, you got my number.
Yeah. I'll call you up and say, hey, what can I do tonight? So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
got I
so
got a full bank of
I
romantic
know you're here.
ideas for things you could do.
I know you're here.
You
Yeah.
got to keep
So,
that woman romanced.
yeah. So that's what I would tell people who find themselves being empty nesters. hey, it's a time to regroup,
Mm,
circle the wagons back around, and
yeah.
because it's honestly, it's the beginning of a new life. I mean, honestly,
Mm,
you going back to where you were 26 years ago before my daughter, before she was born.
mm,
you're going back to that time. Where you were by yourself. You could do things on the spur and everything. Then a child comes, and then that kind of just knocks everything out the ballpark. You have
yeah.
to adjust your life. Then they growing up. Then you going to cheerleading practice and this and that, and then it's college, and then it's this and that. So yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, it is really different.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that about how when it's just the two of you and then
Mhm,
you have the baby and everything changes. I actually
mhm,
have a class coming up on this coming Friday where
mhm,
I've opened it up, and it is for couples who are either expecting a baby
mhm,
or they have just had one, or it's a toddler, early parenting stages,
mhm,
to help them cultivate their romance and intimacy at that time.
mhm,
A recent New York Times study showed that 67% of couples report a decrease in relationship satisfaction after the first child is born. And that is a time when most divorces happen.
mhm,
And so I have a big heart for couples who are just going through transitions,
mhm,
transitioning to parenthood, transitioning to empty nest, transitioning jobs, Um, those are really important times. Those are the perfect times to learn these relationship skills.
mhm.
And so anybody who's watching who maybe has small children, or you're expecting to, I highly recommend that you sign up for Friday's class at welllove.co, so that you can get some of the skills that you need and build that good foundation for intimacy in spite of the baby. Dun dun
Yeah.
dun.
Hmm. Yeah, baby definitely changes your life. I
Mm,
mean, it puts a whole new dynamic into your relationship.
mhm.
So you got to be able to motivate that. Because I really kind of enjoyed, uh, fatherhood. Because my kids probably, you know, got spoiled by me. They were clinging more to me than were clinging to their mother, because I kind of spoiled them because I really enjoyed them. It's even now with my grandkids and stuff. I
Yeah.
really enjoy, the experiences with them, watching them grow up and everything
How
at
old are your grandkids?
a distance. Well, I have one that's 18. She'll be graduating in May. Then there's steps like, well, I think 6, 4, and 2.
Okay.
So it's good to see them, at a distance. Okay.
You don't want them getting Cheeto dust on your couch.
That's right. I mean, my son, they were up here in September, and they think we can just go and hey, grandparents, you were there. Just we'll see you later.
Yep.
I'm like, wait a minute here now. But I mean, it's time because they live in Houston, so we probably do see them about twice a year. But come on now. That's why I'm glad that because they'll be doing that same thing, dropping them off. Well, we're going out
Yeah.
tonight. Can you watch the kid? No, don't want to do that.
Yep.
I love them at a distance, love them to death.
Come on, Grandpa. Come on, watch the
No.
kids.
Mm.
That's another thing that's generationally has changed. My
Uh-huh.
grandmother used to love to keep us and have us. She
Mm-hmm.
would keep us for days or weeks at a time. She raised
Mm-hmm.
me for the first 5 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And now with my mom's generation, they're not trying to be no grandparents keeping no kids for no. I'm
No.
like, wait a minute, you had grandma. Come on.
No, 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 no. Done that, been there. We don't raise you on there. It's time for y'all to raise them. Like I said, but it's good, I mean, because like I said, I don't see them that much. So when they came up in September, they were here for like 3 or 4 days, and they have some friends in the DMV they wanted to see. It was no big deal, and
Yeah, yeah,
everything,
yeah.
But if I was in Houston or they were living up here, no, they'd be like, your grandfather don't want to be bothered with you. No, that's your responsibility. Don't forget it, okay?
Yeah,
You got to separate. I mean, you got to accept some pain in your relationship
yeah,
because you are a parent. You need to take care of that.
yeah.
But I know some people that their grandkids just get dropped off. Don't even know they coming. They there.
Yes.
They there looking
Yeah.
at them.
That's the old school way.
Yeah. No, I'm not old school. New school.
I know that's right.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's enjoyable and everything. But yeah. Yeah. So proud of you going on a new journey. You stepping out, doing your own thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
Something
I'm
you love.
really,
You know.
yeah, it feels right.
Yeah.
At this point, it doesn't. A former colleague of mine reached out to me about a week after I left from the company I was at.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm at a conference. There's a hiring manager here looking for your same role. They're familiar with your work that you did, at the last place. I can make a warm introduction for you.
Mm-hmm.
It was the fastest and easiest no thank
No.
you I've ever said.
uh,
No thank you. I'm not looking for
mhm,
a job. I'm focusing on coaching, and that's
mhm,
that's where I belong.
mhm.
Yeah.
That's good. That's great to follow your calling. You know what you're supposed to be doing. Just do it.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
do it. So tell the viewers about your new website and everything.
Yeah, it's wellloved.co. And you can see the spelling under my name. It's well with one L and then loved. So
Mhm,
you got two L's in well loved, not three.
mhm,
And it's .co.
mhm,
And there is where you will find information about what we do. You'll be able to sign up for a consultation for coaching, whether
mhm,
you are a couple or a woman. You can
mhm,
sign up for a free consultation with me. You can also get tickets to Touch Taste Tease,
mhm,
our upcoming events for couples in Atlanta and Tallahassee. They're going to be so much fun. Yeah,
mhm,
I'm telling you, these couples had a blast. You'll also see the registration for speed dating go up tomorrow on the website.
mhm,
And then if you click on classes, you'll see that there are two classes available this week. One of them on Thursday is called Fix Your Attitude, Sis.
mhm,
And it is about helping women overcome tantrums and tempers. And I have two times for that class on Thursday. It'll be live online, and there will be time for Q&A. And then on Friday, there's the class for couples who are either expecting or have just had a baby. Those are the classes that I'll be offering throughout the month of March. So
mhm,
you can find times for those classes every week this month. And then next month, I'll have two different classes, one for women, one for couples, and we can grow together that way.
mhm,
And then finally, on the website, wellloved.co, you'll be able to book me for speaking engagements. I love coming to conferences and events to do the speaking. I have a list on the website of different talks that I can do for
mhm,
you at the event, or you can reach out for a consultation and I will build for you a custom
mhm.
speaker experience.
Okay. Okay. Got it going on. Got it going on. That's great. That is great. And everything. Well, Raven, as always, I've enjoyed talking to you.
Every time.
Everything. Hey, look, are you doing any book writing right now? Are you writing a book or anything like
I
that?
am. I actually
Okay.
am. I'm working on
Mhm.
something. I got it cooking in the background.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. 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 You got some good stuff here. Let people read about it. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Hopefully I'll be making the announcement soon on your show. I'll be
Okay.
back to tell people, hey, we got a
Mhm.
book out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, come on up to the DMV. Yeah, it's a lot of us up here in the DMV. Shoot, you might
Yeah.
have to do a 3-day affair. You might have to do a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday, or Friday and Saturday. You could probably, I know Knowing people up here, you would do excellent. You do
That would be great. All right. Well, I have to look at the calendar
yeah,
and get some time in the DMV on there.
yeah, yeah. It'd be definitely be good, and I'll be your first customer. Okay, my wife
Hey,
will be your first customer for the DMV.
I would love to have y'all.
Okay, so to the listening audience and the viewers, uh, I've spent time this evening with Raven Thistle, founder of Well Love, a great coach, great coach. She's got some good stuff, and you need to go to her website, welllove.com, and look at what she has to offer and everything. And I really enjoy these talks because, like I said, even though she's not a therapist or someone that's licensed and certified in therapy and things of that nature and counseling. She is a great coach, great coach. And she has insight on so much that we have to deal with on a mental level. And so much stuff is happening in this world now. We're in a fast-paced world now with so many issues and problems. It's good to have somebody like Raven in your corner by your side to guide you through some issues you might be having in life. And it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. Having someone that you can talk to. And I think, if more of us would do that, we'll find we have a healthier life, and we'll be, better suited to deal with each day as it comes. Okay. So please check out Raven, go to her website, learn more about her, use her, call her up, get some information, feel good about yourself, because life is too short not to feel good about yourself, So Raven, until the next time. You take care of your family and
Thank
everything.
you.
And still remember, we as men, we still lingering out here and we need a little of that good coaching and some of those programs you're operating for ladies, okay? So remember, we're
Absolutely.
here.
We'll
We
talk
need
soon.
we need something too, okay? We need something too, okay? Hey, look, take care. As always, it's great sitting down with you and talking to you. Have a good rest of the week. Everyone else, have a good rest of the week. Be safe out there. Enjoy life to its fullest. Smile. Take care of yourself. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Be well.